coming with me.
Hello, fellow nerds and geeks, and welcome to NerdKix, the podcast where pop culture meets passion. I'm your host, Colin, joined by the dynamic duo of nerdiness, Matt and Ben. Together, we're here to embark on an epic journey through the vast realms of all things nerdy and geeky, from comics to movies, gaming to tech, and everything in between. NerdKix is your one-stop shop for geeky goodness.
Yeah, that was very good. Well done.
Very good.
There you go.
At least you got the names in the right order. Hey,
That's it.
good job.
Yeah.
I can read a thing. Whoa.
You did
Yeah.
well.
You're done, Colin. Can go.
Your work is done, Colin. Good. Right. So this episode is looking back on 2023. Shall we start with some headlines?
Yeah.
Let's talk about
What
Twitter.
have you got?
Twitter to X, the buyout of Twitter, Elon Musk, and all things Tesla.
The big
Want to go,
guns.
Matt? I like the guy. I actually really like it. A lot of people don't like him. I think I don't see the problem with him, like, at all.
Isn't that what it boils down to? Are you an Elon fan or not?
Yeah, maybe so. But I don't know. I mean, I like. It's interesting because I'm reading his autobiography at the minute, and I'm a third of the way through it. Not obviously, he didn't write it himself. It's by the same guy who did the Steve Jobs autobiography and a few other big names. But it was interesting to kind of see where he came up and how he got shunned out of pretty much every company he tandemed up with initially because of his wild ideas. They didn't like change. But yeah, I quite like the guy. I think I like him.
That's his viewpoint, I guess.
Mm.
I mean, it's true, isn't it, that he didn't actually, he didn't start Tesla, he didn't start PayPal.
No.
But he kind of finished them, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, you take the PayPal as an example, but he started up a rival company to PayPal. So there was two of them that were obviously hitting.
It was called X, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. So this is where the X comes from. And he joined up with the creator of PayPal, but initially he wasn't with it and he didn't want to go with it, and he didn't like the name because of his X fandom, really. But yeah, for the marketing, I believe it was the way to go, and joined up, brought a lot of customers across, and then basically got bought out. But going on him specifically, it's interesting because it touches on how he works out a business. He likes to get the idea going before even thinking about funding. So he'll start something up and then he'll go to fund it by doing something else. I thought that's just a very different way of doing it.
Well, you've got to have some money, right, to start.
Yeah.
It's all right if you've got a few million in the bank.
Yeah, and this is it. I think that's, yeah. And he does, doesn't he? Everything he's done is pretty good. But Twitter as a platform, though, does anyone use X Twitter? I don't tend to use it, actually.
I don't use it anymore. I haven't used it for months.
No.
I use it in my job. I've never used it personally.
I think it's really good. It's good as a sentiment analysis of how a group of demographics are feeling instantly. Very quickly, actually. Yeah.
It's harder to analyse now, of course, because a lot of the API people got shut out when he took it over, and it's still the case, I think, unless you want to pay megabucks.
Yeah, I guess that's the hard thing, isn't it? If you want to use it but it is a data collation platform at the end of the day. But I think you can take more out of it. I think you can use it for different things. And again, looking what trends are on at the minute, and I find it fascinating if there's a real hard hitting piece of news, and then to see the trends automatically flip to the football within maybe the space of about an hour is quite a view on people's feelings, I guess. Clever stuff. But yeah, I don't use it personally anymore. Did you? So neither of you have really used it. Matt, you said you come away from it. Why did you come away from it?
Do you know? It was because I don't know. It just looked different to me. It was where it's now black. So I mainly used to use it, say, for example, to see maybe traffic, a latest report on traffic because of my job being out on the road and that. But I used to just get myself bombarded by fake followers, and mainly Russian women.
Okay.
It was constant, just constant Russian hookers wanting to follow me. And so, honestly, it's not just me, And I was like, and it was costing me an arm and a leg. And I was like, no, I know. I don't know. I just don't feel the same. It's like, yeah, so I've got it on my phone still, but I mean, I haven't used it for months. I just got to delete it, I expect. Yeah, it's weird. It used to be good for, say, watching maybe clips of like videos and stuff like that or certain things. But yeah, and I'll say my opinion I have no opinion on Elon Musk. No opinion whatsoever. He doesn't affect me. I've never looked into it. I've not got his autobiography, so I can't really tell you. I didn't even know he came from PayPal, for example. Didn't know that.
Well, yeah. I mean, the whole again, the PayPal thing is he had a vision, and the vision I think is that he wanted to start a bank back in his younger days, mainly because obviously the way he sees the finance side of it, the economy, just a bit of a scam, which might be right the way things are going. And he wanted to try and build up this new world bank, but it didn't really take off. And then he flipped over. But again, I'm not too far on in his autobiography with the Tesla stuff. I'm just coming into a bit of SpaceX now, because he's got this fantasy about going. I don't know, fantasy is maybe not the right word, but he's got this ideology about going to Mars. He just wants to go to Mars and colonize Mars.
Why do rich people keep doing this, going into space and doing all that? So I'd be more interested in the ocean.
It's down below instead of up above.
Yeah, it's so much because there's guaranteed stuff in the ocean we don't know is there yet, like the Marinara Trench. That's sauce. What's it called?
That's a sauce, isn't it?
It is a sauce.
That's a tomato-based
bouillon
sauce.
Yeah, and there's the Bolognese Lake, for example. Yeah. It's like I don't know. I just look what's here first. I just don't get the fascination with it. I mean, maybe I don't like flying.
I think he sees it as the future of the species, because if a big rock hits us and wipes us out, then that's it.
He's obviously never seen Total Recall then. Because when their mask smashes and their eyes pop out, to this day, that still scares me. It's something, it really bothered me as a kid. It used to scare the crap out of me. When their eyes smash and their eyes pop out of their head and their tongue starts hanging out.
It was a bit over the top, though, wasn't it? I don't think that would happen.
I know.
I might be wrong, but...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'd be bulletproof, the place where people live.
Yeah, you'd like to think so.
Just made with a bit of 2x4
and
Dave's local glass.
Yeah, and if there's anyone called Richter there, I'm not having anything to do with him.
Richter.
See what the party, Richter.
Yeah, definitely don't get into any lifts that don't have any safety rails.
No, sure. Definitely not. No, definitely not. No, but yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it's down to my fear of flying. Maybe that's why I don't see the appeal there.
That's amazing.
I wouldn't want to go myself. I think it's a good idea overall, but I wouldn't want to be going into space myself. It might seem fun if you've played space games all your life, but it's going to be pretty shitty, isn't it?
Like Fifth Element make it look fun. Just knock you out, and when you wake up, you're there. I wish we could do that on normal flying. I would fly so much more if you just. I mean, I take a sleeping tablet when I got on the plane. I was going to say
that they have that now, don't they? You
can
fall asleep
my
on the plane.
Tablet does make me. No. I mean, they literally press a button. Because I need to be asleep by takeoff, because that's where I have my major panic issues. So I take my Zeplicone like maybe an hour before, which sometimes has backfired in the past. My flight got delayed. But it's like, so then I'm asleep before takeoff. Then I wake up half an hour from the destination. It's amazing, but. Like in Fifth Element, they have pods that you go in, don't you? Like a bed. They literally just press a button on the outside and it just knocks you out instantly. I mean, if that was the case and that was how you had to get somewhere, fine. Because if anything does happen, you're not going to know about it anyway because you're going to be asleep
for 9 months.
Yeah,
it's a long time, isn't it?
I tell you, if I could hibernate between holidays, I'd do it as long as I wasn't aging.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Yeah, you're going to age, aren't you?
That's why. That's why hibernation does. That's why I'm not a fan of if I had a hibernate, I'd be annoyed. Like, no, I'm going to age. So if it was like stasis, like Red Dwarf, and you said, okay, you're not going to. We don't need you at work for the next month. Go into your stasis pod. Oh yeah, no worries. Do you know what I mean?
Off to Mars for a couple of years.
You're off to Mars for a couple of years. How long is it going to take to get there? About 2 years, but you're going to be in a stasis pod, so you'll still be 42 when you get there. Okay, spot on. But does everyone on Earth know how old I'm still going to be? Because it's going to be confusing for them.
You've got this really thought out. It's very good.
It's going to be shit when you're there, though. There's not going to be anything to actually do, is there? Apart from not die, boring. Hopefully.
No, make you before your eyes don't pop out. In all fairness, I wouldn't go in anyway. I would not be volunteering.
I don't think that will happen. I don't. That's definitely a moment to check, but I don't think that will happen. Although there was, I mean, the whole aliens the bit at the end of that, when he releases the oxygen and creates the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe, but yeah, why Mars in the first place?
Yeah, or maybe it's because I don't know. Maybe the moon.
Well, it's close, isn't it? And it's warmish.
Warm. Yeah, it's going to be warm. Yeah, yeah.
And it's got water.
Well, has that been?
Probably.
Well, they did. Yeah,
no, I think
have they
I think it definitely. I think it definitely has water, especially around the polar bits.
Yeah,
where the bears live.
With their eyes and tongue hanging out.
Lay off the eyes and tongue, Matt. It's not a thing. It's just a really weird polar Mars bear walking around with his eyes out.
Yeah, he's got a mask on.
I'm not going. It's not happening.
No, I don't want to go. I'm happy here.
Oh, so what we were talking, it was Elon Musk, wasn't it? So yeah, back to where we went off there. But yeah, Elon Musk, Twitter and X. So does anyone know why he bought Twitter in the first place? Has anyone done the research?
No. It was a bet, wasn't it? More or less.
It was, yeah.
I don't think he actually wanted to do it, but he kind of just went through with it.
And I would summarise that the whole acquisition was, I want to say, an ego trip, more than anything. But I know he has his view of free speech a lot of the time, and saying what you feel and things like that. But again, where does that line draw with policing the good and bad, hate or not scenarios? Which according to the now research that he dug out, that Twitter was policing quite a bit against other views. So
this happens a lot. It happens a lot in companies, though, doesn't it? Especially when they're losing money, that they go from one extreme to the other.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gone to the extreme of not having many staff.
Yeah.
But it might mean that the thing's actually profitable eventually.
Yeah, and I think you will get to that point. I cannot not see it getting profitable. There's a means to an end for it, right? So when I use it, mainly from a technical perspective, especially if something's gone down, so the first place I'll go is look on X or Twitter. You'll soon know if there's a problem somewhere.
So what is it called now? No, it used to be you tweet someone. What do they call it now? You X someone.
That's a valid point.
That's a good point.
I've X'd you. That don't sound right, does it? It just doesn't. I've crossed you. No.
I've X'd my ex.
Oh, there you go. Tweets are now posts.
Posts, okay. Bit boring, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no imagination in that one.
No,
so I quite liked the tweet. The tweet was good.
Yeah, tweet was good. You're like, tweet. But I was trying to think of another name for it, what you could call it. Now it's an X. I've marked the spot.
I've marked your spot. Again, it doesn't really work.
That's a good point, though. It's a good plan, potentially, though, because that means he doesn't have to keep the limit anymore. You can potentially post to any length, can't you? Whereas a tweet, I suppose, is meant to be small.
Because they up to the length, didn't they?
Yeah,
a couple of years ago, maybe.
Initially came in so you could post more or tweet more. But again, that comes back to the business aspect. I guess he's then going to monetize it. So, the more to pay, the more you... At what point do you then jump to another social media platform, which is what a lot of people have done?
You don't have to get people to pay much to get rid of the bots, hopefully, is I think the plan.
Right, yeah. I don't know what they call it. Is it a verified now, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Verified. Yeah. I am me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was quite a... I don't know how much you bought it for. Let's have a quick look.
A shitload, I think. So are we all in favour then? Say aye.
Put your X on the mark, and if you want us to buy it.
Yeah, I like his attitude. He's got like an engineer attitude. Fuck the politics and the PR and all that. Just do what you need to do to get the thing working.
It just works, yeah. That's his work ethos, isn't it? Just work until it works.
It's nice. It's nice to see someone reject all the bullshit.
Yeah. And just get it done. Get the job done.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the problem, right? And no one pushes back. You just get on with it. You get paid well. You make your money, and yeah. No, I quite like that as well.
Yeah, I hate people that just mess around. Yeah. Or you ask someone a question, like a business, and I don't answer your question. They answer you, or they just say yes or no. Say yes or no. It winds me up. If he's like that, that's good. There's nothing worse than these people that just pander. Do you know what I mean?
Say the right thing.
It's worth checking out. He did a couple of TED Talks very recently. I think it was in the past couple of years. His latest one's really worth a watch. Yeah, quite enjoyed that. I just had a quick. So he acquired Twitter for $44 billion in October 2022 and renamed the platform X last year in July. It seems longer than that. But they now estimate the value of X at about $12.5 billion today. Number of monthly users dropped 15% in the first year since the takeover, amid concerns over a rise in hate speech on the platform. 15% isn't a lot, though, is it? It's quite a small number, the amount of users.
That's a point, actually. When I was last few times I went on there, most of the thing I saw were celebrities whinging that they're now going to a different platform because X is allowing people, like scummy people on there or something. It was just all the celebrities is whinging that they're going somewhere else. It's like, just go then.
It's trend setting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they jump on the trend to get the follows and the likes and the backing. But again, that's one thing he doesn't like to do. But he also, even though he says that he doesn't do that and he doesn't like that, he'll happily do it himself, which is a bit ironic. You can change stock markets by one tweet or one, post now. It's crazy. But 44 billion.
Well, I don't think he really bought it to make money, did he? Like we said, he kind of did it because he had to in the end, because he said he would.
Yeah, he's got to follow through with that. But fair play,
Oh, I would have followed through if I spent that much money. Damn.
With your 6 toilets in one room house.
Yeah. And a shower.
And a shower.
Killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Goes of blockage. It's amazing. So brilliant. That was the big news. Found that quite an interesting one.
Yeah.
Moving on. Talk about, anyone seen The Witcher?
Nope.
No?
Oh, is this the series 3 without
Henry
main
Cavill?
guy? It's a similar kind of subject in a way, isn't it? That there are certain people in the media who have an agenda which isn't pleasing fans or sticking to material, that is the original material, which just seems to be why Henry Cavill left.
Yeah, I think that was his main.
I'm not a big Witcher fan. What I mean is I don't know. I've never read the books or anything, but it was really good, the first series, wasn't it?
It was, and again, I've only watched the first series, so it was good. Really enjoyed it, but I remember the game. The game was really good as well. But I mean, a lot of the again pop culture and blogs, messy breakup, numerous conflict stories about departure, which casts the blame on somebody else. So it was a bit of a messy leaving by the sounds of it. But yeah, it was a good series. But apparently the tease was that he was going to go back to the Superman role.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's panning out now, is it?
Well, I think, along these same lines of studios and that not doing what the fans want. I think that was meant to be another thing. They were going to ditch all their male characters, weren't they, and come up with a load of other stuff which people potentially don't want. And now I think maybe they've realised that was a bit silly and they might be trying to backpedal. I don't know. Matt will probably know more than me.
No, I don't really watch The Witcher, but are you on about the DC state, sorry? Yeah,
DC, yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what, right? I don't know what's going on with it. It's because I saw pictures the other day of the new guys in the new Superman. He was actually in Henry Cavill's old suit, like doing screen tests and that. And he had the Kiss Carol going on. It looked all right, but it's like apparently they're going to be doing a couple different Batman universes now. So you still got the Pattinson Batman going on, but they're going to do another one on the side. You've obviously got the new Penguin series coming out soon, which is to do with that, which does actually look pretty good, actually. It looks a little bit like Sopranos kind of vibe. And I think that'd be all right because Colin Farrell as Penguin I thought was fantastic. Really good. So you got that going on. But then apparently they're going to do another Superman movie with a black Superman still to coincide with the other white Superman. Supergirl's been scrapped. Obviously, you had the big Batgirl film scrapped last year, and that had actually finished. But apparently the studio watched it and they said it was so bad they're not even going to release it. And Brendan Fraser was actually in that as Firefly. He was the main villain. It was one of his big comeback films. So Brendan Fraser having a big comeback at the moment, isn't he? But I'm not sure. But Brendan Fraser is a major character in a DC TV series on Netflix called Titans, and he's a one of the main characters in that. He's like the robot bloke, but you never see his face. He's just like a robot. So he's also in that. So that's apparently still going on. And you've got Superboy in that with Nightwing, who was obviously Robin. But they're nothing to do with the DC universe, which because of Aquaman had come out last month. That was the last film to do with that DC universe. So I don't even know what the point was in that film. And obviously you've got the Flash that come out early last year as well, or mid last year. And that had been changed loads because of Henry Cavill no longer being Superman. He replaced him with Supergirl. But that's not going. Honestly, I'm not.
It sounds messy.
Oh, it's ridiculous. This is me explaining it the easiest way I can. And it probably sounds like I'm all over the place, like I don't know what I'm talking about. But that is literally the state of what's going on with DC at the moment. And for example, if we're talking about comic book films, so because I've been off work the last couple of weeks, so I thought, I'll tell you what, let's give Thor: Love and Thunder a go. I turned it off after 45 minutes. It was weird. He was near enough having an affair with a hammer.
Yeah, it was bizarre. I agree there. I managed to get through the whole thing. There was a couple of moments in it when it just, I think when they who played the role of the guy with the lightning?
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe, yeah. When it got to that part, it was just like, this has gone a little bit over the top. But I mean, I quite enjoyed Ragnarok because I thought that was a little bit of a twist on the humour side of things. But I think they pushed it too far. Well, that takes us on to the next one. They're calling it Barbenheimer, which is the Oppenheimer versus Barbie movie that was released at the same time. Now, I haven't seen Oppenheimer, but I have seen the Barbie movie.
Right. Do you want to edit that out, or are you going to admit that still?
No.
Okay, you're going to admit that. Okay.
We sat down, we watched it, and do you know what? It wasn't bad. It wasn't the worst thing I've seen compared to some of the stuff that's out there.
What he's going to do, Colin? He's going to justify it by saying, "But he's got kids."
No, I'm not, because I wouldn't let the children watch it. I think it's a bit too.
I've seen it too, so I can't.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh, no wonder you were quiet.
I quite enjoyed it. It was yeah.
I got a half-price ticket on a Monday, so I took Mrs.
You do.
She's a lucky lady.
I got to say, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was expecting a feminist onslaught, but it was actually. Well, you could take it however you wanted to take it, really.
And I think that's how they did it. Yeah, stereotypical Barbie. That's what it's called. Yeah, I quite enjoyed that. But has anyone seen the Oppenheimer?
No.
Yeah, I saw that also. Yeah, that was obviously a completely different kettle of fish.
So how was that? How was Oppenheimer?
It's quite long.
Right.
Well, that's that review done. Right.
Do you want to start at the beginning, mate?
How can I sum it up?
Bang.
Yeah, it finished on a bang.
Well, I suppose the thing was it was more about Oppenheimer than about the bomb or history per se.
Mm.
So yeah, it was more a biography pick. Yeah, so I wasn't. It was good. It wasn't brilliant, but then I don't know. I don't really need to go through the whole story. You know,
well, you should. We've got
the guy
3 hours yet. Keep going.
Forms a team. He invents with other people. But actually, it wasn't so much the inventing; it was the building the bomb, and obviously dropping it. But I think it was kind of all about how he had links to the Communist Party and things like that. And is he too dangerous to be allowed to do this kind of thing?
Yeah.
But obviously, he wasn't.
Talk about games.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Which is my return to Valheim.
Okay, yes. How are you getting on?
So when I played it originally, there were a few of us, weren't there? And we got quite far. I got past. There's a fair bit of grind involved, but you progress through. You kill some bosses and that, and you end up going up the mountains and mining silver and stuff. But I think we were on the beta version at the time, so I got to this point where I got stung by a bee and lost my gear, and then I rebooted my computer or something, and then my gear was lost. So I was like, I can't be asked to go back to stage 1. So I packed it in, And recently, Ben set up another server, so I started again, quite enjoying it. But the other day, I built a boat, and I was trying to sail the boat to where one of the bosses is, and I crashed my boat into the swamp, and these leeches attacked me, and I got killed. And I've died in a completely place I can't reach.
Oh, so you can't get back to there?
Well, I can, but there's just leeches everywhere, so I can't get back to there without being killed.
Oh wow! Okay,
so I'm almost back to square one again. So I'm thinking, fuck it, can I really be bothered to start again?
Mm.
It's a shame because I really like the game, but now I probably should.
Is it based on? Is it Norse mythology? Norse?
Yeah,
it's Norse. Yeah. I mean, the whole premise of Valheim was, I think it was two guys that just randomly got together because they were getting fed up with some other games and just started off as an indie series. Was it indie?
Just don't know really. How do you know?
I don't know.
What's the difference between indie and a normal game?
Well, I think it's to do with the rights, isn't it? It's something to do with the
and budget.
Yeah, and that being a big thing as well.
Well, it was kind of half finished when we first started playing it. There was only about 3 bosses, I think.
Yeah, it has grown so much.
Yeah, there's quite a lot more now.
They've just released it for the Xbox Series. So,
well, if anybody's thinking of playing it, be cautious, especially when you're on your boat.
Watch out for leeches.
Yeah, you lose your gear in the sea and you're fucked, aren't you? Pardon my French.
You know.
I got the feeling that really pissed you off when you lost all your gear.
Well, it's pretty serious. It's like if you've been playing it for 24 hours, which you probably have by the point I've got to. It's gone. It's gone.
Everything's gone.
I think the only way you can get it back is if you're admin, you can do you can do some ghost mode or something like that. I think it's called.
Okay.
But you have to be in control of the server though to do that.
Oh, we can sort that out. If it's that bad, it's not going to kick you off.
Sorry, did you say it was called Valheim?
Valheim, yeah.
Oh yeah, I see it's coming to Xbox. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, on Game Pass it's coming on actually.
It is good. I mean, it's a survival game, completely bare bones, basic. Build your way up, and anything and everything can kill you.
You can spend hours though just building a nice house with a nice fire in it to chill in.
But the maps placements, you've got bosses to get, and it's survival, isn't it? I mean, there's lots of them out there, like the Rust series and things like that. So, yeah, I did enjoy it when I played. It's finding the time to play it though. It's
yeah, that is the trouble.
So I was just reading up on it. Valheim received positive reviews from critics from IGN, gave the game a rating of 9 out of 10, stating that the game has excellent art and music, highlighting a world that generates endless, exciting stories. Yeah,
I'll go along with that. Yeah, it's definitely. Yeah, it's got a nice mellow start to it. It's almost relaxing to play.
Yeah.
It's just you've really got to think through what you're doing.
Yeah, Valheim, it was. Yeah, again, you just kind of hope that they don't go too commercial with it. I would say. I mean, I know the ethos of the initial team that built it, they were trying to keep it loose and enjoyable. But how long until that gets sold on and changed?
I've not seen any loot boxes yet.
Okay.
Maybe you can. I don't know. Maybe you can do single player and buy a
loot box,
gold or something. I don't know. Yeah. Haven't seen it though.
Well, that's the way they tend to go, isn't it? It's yeah. Do you play any games like that, Matt? Any survival games like that?
Not really. The only game I'm really playing at the moment is Jurassic Park Evolution 2, where you build your own Jurassic Park. But if I'm honest, I'm getting bored of it now. It just keeps going over the same old. The dinosaurs escape. They eat some gas. I get bad ratings, and it's like, oh, do you know what I mean? Don't go and visit the park.
Just don't go to the park.
I've put in loads of. You put in emergency shelters everywhere. I've put them everywhere. So if I get a warning, there's a tornado coming, or one of the dinosaurs has got out, I open all the shutters, all the emergency shelters. Then I zoom in, and they're just strolling along eating an ice cream. It's like there's a dinosaur coming at you. Then if someone gets eaten, and my rating goes right down.
So because they didn't go into the shelter.
Oh, yeah, and it just keeps going. So then they escape. So I dart them. I get rangers to repair the fence. I put the dinosaurs back in. then it happened. So I ended up darting them and selling some of these dinosaurs because they just seem to be on a loop of breaking out. I don't know how to stop it. The water ones are okay. They're really good. The bird ones, same thing. They keep escaping. So I haven't played on it for a few days. I don't know if it's just I've got the wrong fences up. Actually, I've got the wrong fences up, actually, remembering that. I put a small electric fence up for the T-Rex. Yeah, so imagine the fence you see when you're out in the field with sheep. Yeah,
hold him.
I used one of them for a T-Rex, got annoyed and eat the goat. But that's pretty much it. But I've started playing Far Cry 3, actually. Because this is a bit... I don't know, I'm going through that phase at the moment where I'm struggling to get into a game. Do you know, I like story-driven games, and I just seem to be struggling finding something at the moment. It's like
Although we have started Farming Simulator.
That is true.
Which is on the NerdKix YouTube channel, just a plug there for everyone to watch.
That is true. That is good. Hopefully there will be more of them.
There will be.
And yeah, but I tell you what I did get the other day, actually, as a game for being off, Jedi Survivor. So I really liked the first one. But the second one, I've stopped playing. It was boring. There was literally just so much running around in between fighting, but they've overcomplicated the fighting. So in that one, you had two stands. You could use your normal lightsaber or put it together, the first one. In this one, you can choose about 6 different ones, but you can only use 2 at a time. There's loads of platforming, which is... and yeah, it's... Honestly, in the stories, it's a really slow burner. It's like... I like games that last a while, like my money's worth. But this feels like they've made it long to drag it out. And yeah, sadly, that's why I prefer buying physical games, because if I don't like them, I will take them back or trade them in. With digital, you're stuck. And that's why I am a big advocate for physical media, because of the trading side of things. So you get things a little bit cheaper, and I like having them displayed. And it's nice having the option. But yeah, that's one of the reasons I got rid of my Series S, is because I just miss my physical media.
Well, it's less and less, isn't it? Physical media these days.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I own anything, back to the TVs and that. I don't think I own a DVD player or anything. I don't even my systems don't have a CD-ROM anymore. Laptops don't have them anymore. So
no, you're right. I think you have to buy externals now, don't you?
Yeah, a lot of the time. I mean, there is something I remember when I was younger. I mean, my first kind of PC gaming, when I'm talking, 486 and Pentium 2s here, but I remember buying Starfleet Command in Southampton. There was a game shop in the Marlin Centre down at the bottom, and it came in the box. Remember the PC box games?
Yeah.
And I bought that with my savings, and it was probably one of the best games I bought. And I think I've still got it, actually, more as a memento. But I think the problem that we have with game development and games that get released in the digital sense is that they're released early and then they're patched quickly. So obviously to build the revenue up to generate the game content, which is scary, really, because it doesn't take any, any thought. I guess that's the wrong word. It's not thought process, is it? It's all about clawing to keep the game sustainable, and generate that revenue to see if it's a hit. And I think the most annoying thing about it is that if someone doesn't deem it a hit within a certain period of the development, it can be canned. So all the hype and all the marketing and all the money that goes into it, which is, a lot of it's now crowdfunded, which I cannot stand. I'm not a big fan of crowdfunded. I don't like it, because I think you're hitting a niche in the market for a certain element of a game or a show or anything, even board games, anything like that. If it's crowdfunded, it's not. I don't think companies put their all into the development of the game itself.
I agree, because it's not their money, is it?
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? You can be let down very quickly. So,
well, that's why I got rid of my Series S and got the Xbox X as well, because I like the backwards capability. So a few weeks ago, I decided to go and get a couple original Xbox games and a couple 360 games that I remembered I really enjoyed. So let's have a look. So I got them in front of me. James Bond Agent Under Fire, which is a good first-person shooter. The newest Medal of Honor game, where it was sort of set in modern times. The Punisher game, which was absolutely amazing game, and something else down there. None of them work. Absolutely fuming. And it turns out there's only certain games that are backward capability. Why? And it turns out there's developer things. It's like the hassle of GoldenEye getting released last year. I on Xbox and on Nintendo Switch. The hassle of that, the wait I had was unbelievable. But it's on there now. So James Bond got GoldenEye 007 from the N64 version. I mean, that was a lot of memories for me because that was my first ever console game I bought of my own birthday and Christmas money. And so it come out last year on Game Pass and on Switch Nintendo Store. But a couple of years ago, I think it was 2006 maybe, so it's not a couple of years ago, so a little while ago, Xbox Live Arcade remade GoldenEye, never released it, but so you can actually play it online for free. Someone released it like dodgy, but you can just get it for free and play it, and it's really good because so with GoldenEye they had a follow-up called Perfect Dark, which has also got remade on Xbox Live Arcade, but that's actually on Game Pass. You can play that. Same studio and everything made it, but because it's a James Bond film, there was issues with the rights or something. Anyway, so it came out last year finally, but not the remake, not the remastered, the original original Nintendo 64 version, and it's good. So the controls are now like a modern first-person shooter. It's loads of fun, and the graphics are exactly the same thing. But it's funny. There's loads of screen tearing in it. You can actually see like textures break. It's really strange, but it's still playable. But what the weirdest thing is, so it was original Nintendo game. The Nintendo Switch version, apparently, on their controller is near enough unplayable. You need to get the N64 controller for the Switch, which you can, but apparently they were a limited edition thing. So there's hardly any of them out there, so they're a lot of money. And it's like, why wouldn't they make it so it's just playable easy on both systems? So, for example, you can only play multiplayer on that game on the Xbox with players in the same room locally, but you can play it multiplayer on Switch online. But the trouble is you can't really play it unless you've got the N64 controller, because it's apparently near enough impossible control on the Switch controller. And it's like, so that was like last year's massive thing. Everyone was so excited, and they managed to screw it up.
Well, this is I think in those situations, if they're going to be releasing, because they're having to target an audience. Because if I sat, you take someone who plays modern gaming now, all the bells and whistles, you sit them down and you put them in front of GoldenEye, they're just not going to want to play it.
No.
So I think the development cycle behind the scenes, there has to be enough interest from a marketing perspective to inject those additional features to allow that playability to go through, or they end up burning cash. And that's the problem, isn't it? I mean, Colin, you'll know with your the swag side of things and the Amiga groups, and it's difficult to keep that going, because I think generationally we are slowly starting to lose that way of playing some retro games. I think retro's coming back, don't get me wrong, but I think it's being not forced. It's being it's coming through the older generation onto the younger generation in a different kind of way now. But it's modern gaming. I think the whole industry is upside down at the minute. So.
Well, you say that, funny enough, I heard last week, I don't know how true this is, I may need to check this, I don't know if you want to check that one there, apparently all game stores are now stopped trade-ins. Like,
yes,
as in
I heard.
Game itself, which doesn't bode well, because if you notice, they've all sort of gone into Sports Direct, a bit like how Argos have gone into Sainsbury's. The game stores all seem to be in Sports Direct now. I mean, I don't know any that's on their own anymore. And yeah, I don't think they've got long.
Yeah, so, I mean, shut us down. High Street Games retailer game, 240 branches to close store permanently as shoppers cry it's circled the drain. It's really difficult because, the only one high street game that I can really think of is seeing like CEX now.
Yeah, you're right.
They're the ones that, but even if you go into there, I think even their shelves are becoming, I would say, limited of what's left to rinse and repeat. Game was mine when I was younger. I used to love going into a game store.
I remember when it was Electronic Arts, top of East Street, and that's where I traded in I remember my N64 for my PS1. It was the biggest mistake I ever made. And that was.
Well, I think. Sorry, again.
No. So that's it.
But I think, you look at every time I used to go into a game store. Every time I went in there, they were trying to adapt. So it turned into, it's like HMV, really. I mean, HMV focused on things like primarily music, and they tried to adapt with films and genre and games. And some of the stores that you go in now have completely had to revamp all their shelves.
Yeah, it's like Japanese sweets and stuff in there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's everything now. So, to have to adapt your business that much away from your original selling and branding, it must be difficult to do. But then again, the game high street store, what's the difference? You go into a game store, you go into a high street store, you push a button and order it next day delivery on Amazon or something like that. So there's it's difficult. It's a difficult one.
Well, I suppose people have been saying the demise of the high street is here for years now, haven't they?
Yeah, that's the term. Yeah,
but it's still here.
Yeah, it is.
But not a game, obviously. I mean, if there's absolutely no difference between, there's like one version of the game and it's the same online as it is in the shop, there isn't much reason to go and buy it, is there?
No, that's the difference. Yeah, especially with the connectivity at home now with download speeds and WAN connectivity being as fast as it is with bandwidth now. I mean, you go back years ago when dial-up, then it was very, very different. But now you've got that instant availability.
Well, I remember my routine on a Saturday morning. If I was going to get ready for a new game where I had something to trade in, I'd get on the bus, go to town, go to Game in the Bargate, because it was near the bus stop, trade in, get my Game Gear game, Master System game, whatever, get on the bus, go home. I'd go home, I'd have a 2-bob bit while reading the instruction manual. That was my routine. Then read the instruction manual fully while having a 2-bob bit. Right?
You need to stop saying 2-bob bit, mate.
Go to the lab, then go into the bedroom, and I'd know the controls all by heart, and I'd be empty. It was, honestly, that was my routine. Mental, isn't it? Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. It's not an event buying stuff. You used to kind of get worked up, didn't you?
Yeah, you did.
By checking it out.
I was getting so excited, I'd shut myself.
By now, so how many games have you got in your Steam catalogue where you've played them for like an hour and that's it?
I'm up to about 400, and I think maybe I've only touched about 80 of them. So it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I think you should prioritise Farming Simulator personally.
That's extreme.
I am enjoying it.
You should get on that, Colon. You'd join us on the farm.
Yeah.
So NerdKix have their own farm.
There's no need to ask you what it's about, is there?
No,
clues in the title. There.
I'll show you the barn.
It's one of the most relaxing things I've ever played, and
it's weird,
especially
isn't it?
when there's a few. I think on my own I'd probably get a little bit bored, but with a few of you, it's very dynamic. So one of you can be doing one thing and the other and the other, until you're all over the place with the road and cars trying to bump you off.
Yeah. So
and
impatient.
you get someone like Matt who's just all over the place.
Yeah. Ben, we can't aim his nozzle.
It's really good.
I guess you have like cows and stuff.
So the base game, you start. Well, we've just gone for
croppage,
standard crops, and growing at the minute. But the game expands onto farming, animals, and then you get cultivation. There's some other ways of. But the idea is that that time moves on in the game. We've actually got it to real time in the minute, so we get our bearings. But every month there's a particular time to grow and there's a particular time to harvest, and then you get certain buyers of the wheats and all the crops at the best rates. So I think there's a lot of math behind it and a lot of ways of doing it. And I also noticed it was an e-sport. There's an actual e-sport of Farming Simulator, which it's absolutely phenomenal to watch. I couldn't stop watching it, but it's really tense, but it's really good. So highly recommend it. And as I said, if you get it and you join us, I record it and it'll be on the NerdKix YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass if you got it, Colin.
Yeah, totally worth it.
Have you noticed though that actually talking about that gaming and still on that, the amount of simulators that are out now? That seems to be the thing, simulators at the moment. There's Goat Simulator, Lawnmower Simulator, Power Washer Simulator, by the way, is amazing. That's a relaxing game. It shouldn't be. You think, what a loser. Go and wash your car for real life. You know what I mean? No way in hell. I get to wash a DeLorean. But I was thinking about other simulators. I tell you what, this is my bet, right? We're going to mark this day. I bet within this time, by 2025, there is an ice cream simulator where you're an ice cream man. I'm willing to make this bet. Why wouldn't there be?
There's got to be one. There has to be one already.
Sounds a bit like Theme Park, I suppose, but just the ice cream bit.
Wonderful game.
Yeah,
Roller Coaster Tycoon Theme Park.
Brilliant. So you got Lawnmower Simulator and Construction Simulator, train, plane, automobiles, And I had to go on actually Flight Simulator for the first time in ages the other day, and it looks even better now when it's been updated. And I was actually having to go on the fighter jet from London to Southampton. It took me 20 minutes to get there. So
I'm going to be starting my own little independent series on the NerdKix channel about Flight Simulator soon as well. I'm hoping to do a trip around the UK in little Piper Warrior, but as realistic as I can. So, I've just been setting up ready for that as well. Because, I'm a big Flight Simulator buff. Everyone knows that.
Yes.
So, a little bit too much sometimes, but I quite enjoy it. So, little mini-series coming up as well. Last bit of thing before we wrap it up was the top tech in 2023 was electric cars.
Oh.
That was the biggest thing in 2023.
I bet those people were regretting it after last week. Did you hear about all the car batteries when it was freezing the other week?
No.
They were only getting 20% usage because the weather was deadening in the batteries. There was electric cars broke down everywhere. Everywhere there was electric cars broke down because the freezing weather drained the batteries down to 20% rough or under.
Does that happen? Colin, you're the bit of the expert on the electric vehicle front, aren't you? Been doing a lot of research.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Does that happen? Yeah, you're in real trouble in the cold because obviously you've got to. The cars have to heat the batteries slightly so they don't completely not work. Yeah. And obviously it's darker, so you've got your lights on and your heating on, so it's even worse. So even some of the new cars, they publish mileage which is like at least 25% longer than you're actually going to get. So I don't really think they're going to save the world. If all you really do is moving your
is the way forward. Have you seen these hydrogen cars? How much mileage you get on them? And I don't know why they're being pushed.
Various other options. It's just that EVs are like the only real option at the moment, I know.
It's weird because you could even run cars on potatoes, apparently.
Well, there's some viable options. There is hydrogen, but obviously you've got problems moving it and storing it and making it. But there's alternatives like apparently you can use ammonia, which is liquid at room temperature, so that's much easier to work with. And I think the Japanese have got an engine which works on ammonia.
Oh, ammonia. Tell you what I'm gonna do. Build a house next door to you. Sorry.
Yeah, the thing is, you've got this thing where the government's banning petrol cars.
Yeah.
Because obviously EVs are big business for the government. Hey, go out and consume new things, everybody. But there's people are making fuel, probably gone on about this before, but you can make petrol that's using carbon from the air rather than carbon from fossil fuels. So you've got net zero petrol coming.
Oh, I didn't know that. No.
So there's not really any need to get rid of your old car. So you're better off keeping your old car and using e-fuels in a few years, maybe.
So is that, again, was it a trend setter? Because EV was the thing to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's... People want to have a Tesla, don't they?
I don't get it. I think they're horrible looking cars.
Well, I like the premise of a Tesla. But you're right. I mean, I'm not ever keen on the look and style. But again, I think that's the thing that sold them more, the social and the marketing rather than the actual use of them, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I think the main thing is if you can charge from home and you don't have to drive too far, then it's a winner.
Yeah. Short trips.
They remind me of the cars out of Demolition Man. They really do look like them, don't they, the Teslas?
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah. Go play oldies. My dog's better than your dog. My dog's better than yours. Oh, I love that film.
It's really good. John Spot, is that you?
Shit. There's anyone else in this? What the hell are you doing here?
Somebody shoot him.
Bad A, Blondie.
Yeah. So that was the biggest trend of 2023. The second trend, just to add it in there, was this new concept by Dyson called Dyson Zone, and it was a mashup of noise cancelling headphones and an air purifying mask. Looks absolutely ridiculous.
Saw it in Harrods. I saw it in Harrods. Yep, you're absolutely. If you're going to go to, I thought it was something to take you to Mars. It was absolutely mental.
I think Dyson have to go on that whole to be different scenario to sell their products.
Yeah.
It looks like a Hoover, though, doesn't it? The earphones look like a Hoover.
I thought it was. Because it was in the Dyson section. I was like, no, it's not. Yeah, honestly, it's worth going to Harris just to see this thing in real life. It was like, yeah. I
think it could sell. It could sell, though.
Well, I think it could sell in the places with high pollution, right? So
right.
There's levels of high pollution that I mean, they're looking at a market in those areas for sure, which, there are a few of them these days. It's quite interesting.
Well, do you remember?
It looks like the purifier bit just folds down from the top.
Yeah, so, it feels like the ant mask.
Yeah,
comes down.
It's quite a good design.
Do you two remember those glasses? I don't know if you were with me, Ben.
Google Glass.
John Lewis. No, it's like you could put your own prescription lens in them, but the speakers are in the bit that goes behind your ears.
Yeah, so I actually when we went to try them, I actually went out and bought a pair for work. Headphones, bone conduction headphones. They're called Shocks. Absolutely one of the best things I've purchased.
Really?
Without a shadow of a doubt. They really are good. And I mean, because for my job, I'm always on the phone. I'm always got a headset on. It really gets uncomfortable on my head. But these things, I don't feel them on my head. And 2 bone conduction just comes in the front of the ear, and it feels I can just hear everything clearly in my head. Aside from the voices.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, really, really good. Highly recommend it. But it's expensive. Shocks.
That's the same as the glasses, then. It's the same concept.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but obviously they built them into glasses to make them more targeted towards music in the store. But for me, it's more communication based for what I do for a living. So, again, I highly recommend them. But they did set me back £200. They were really expensive.
Yeah.
But it's not usually tech. I usually buy just on impulse, but it's probably one of the best things I've purchased ever. Yeah, really helped me out day to day.
Oh, okay.
Highly recommend it. It takes a bit of getting used to because it is a different. The only difference with bone conduction is that you don't get the bass.
So where do you put them?
So they just go over the tops of my ears.
Go over your bone.
Yeah, over the bone. Yeah, and there's over your bone. Oh,
they're really good in the morning.
They're really good. Just stay there. It's wonderful. Everything perfectly balanced. But no, they go over the ear. And there's 2 pads that basically touch on the bones of your ear in the front, just in front of your lobes. And yeah, it's like I can hear everything in the head.
It freaks me out. Oh, that sounds weird.
It took a bit of getting used to.
I bet it does.
But very, very good. Highly recommend them. So the last thing is the other 2 big ones are the Steam Deck. Anyone? Again, I'm
familiar. I've seen it. To me, it looks like a very big Game Gear, but a lot more expensive.
Yeah, powerful piece of equipment. But again, it's coming from the PC. I think the PC PC motive down to a handhold, and I don't think I can get my head around that personally.
If you're a keyboard and mouse sort of bloke, it's not going to work, is it?
Exactly. Yeah, you're not targeted towards it, are you?
I mean, it's not a bad idea. I mean, it's such low res enough to be quite low power, I guess.
Yeah.
It's because it's a small screen. Why? There's no need for it to be like ultra high definition, right?
No. Yeah. So I think they can get away with it by downscaling a lot.
If you can deal with the double controls, it's probably not a bad thing for the train or whatever.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't get one. Wouldn't get one myself.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.